But if you do have to use them, then you're prepared for that. So we'll start with, say you were in your car and your car broke down. My car broke down, was it on 78? If anybody knows 78, there's no gas stations, no stores, no anything up there.
That's right.
So you shouldn't travel at night. But if you're there during the day and your car happened to break down like mine did, I carry this kit in my car. It's a car kit, and it has many essentials that you would need if you break down for simple, simple emergencies. Say if you have a flat tire, that kind of thing, or maybe your car might need a jump or something like that. I have some things in my bag. So here I have, jumper cables, because a lot of times people will stop to help you, but they may not have cables in their car.
That's right.
So if you don't have cables, then you might be still stuck, right? And so I have jumper cables here. But if you have a flat tire, sometimes if your spare has been sitting in your trunk, maybe you never got a flat, or it's been a very long time. The air could leak out of your spare tire. So when you put the spare tire on and you put the car down and it's still flat, you're like, what's going on?
Right.
So this is an air compressor, and it will, put air into your tire if you don't have it already. God forbid if you run out of gas and you're on the highway, right? If it's an emergency situation, we're not saying everyday situation, but if it's an emergency situation, you might end up having to use the stuff. Not on an everyday breakdown situation, okay? All right.
So that would be like siphoning gas from somebody else's car?
Yes, into your car, yes. And then these here are flares, because where I was on 70 was around a bend, and then as soon as you come around the bend, my car was right there. So it was in a very bad place. Flares are very useful for that, so that it prevent people from hitting your car. I had to actually remove my children from the car because it was like literally when they came around the bend, it was this close to my car, within an inch of it. Or you can use cones, whatever you feel comfortable with. The cones, I have cones here as well, or the flares. And in the car, we have an emergency blanket. Even though I had a regular blanket, you can use like a wool blanket in the wintertime. You can change it for the season, so in the summertime I have like a summer blanket that I keep in my car. But this one here insulates your heat. Because if your car shuts down and it's cold like this in the wintertime, your car doesn't keep heat that long,
Right.
So you may need to have something to keep you warm. Now this you can wrap around your body. And this is made of Mylar, and it will insulate your body.
So that actually insulates the body heat so the body temperature doesn't drop.
Yes, that's right. That's what it does. But in addition to that, let me show you what I have. I have it over here. In addition to that, I have these in this bag. This is my go bag, which I will explain in a minute. But in the car pack, I have them as well. These are foot warmers you can put in your boots, and these are hand warmers which you can stick in your gloves. So, because your extremities usually get frostbitten first, your fingers and your feet. And if you keep them warm, these last for like 8 hours, it says. 8 hours, on this one it says up to 10 hours it lasts. So that to keep your extremities warm. And in my bag as well, I have a change of clothes in here. Under here, change of clothes, gloves, hat, whatever you need. These are some nice warm socks or boots. A change of clothes in your car is very important. And sometimes you're coming from work, right? Sometimes I'm wearing my heels. So in my car, I keep some boots in here. I keep my boots in the car because you never know if you have to get out and change your tire, right?
Right, yes, ma'am.
Some people just see you on the side of the road and they keep on going, right? A lot of people do that, right?
That's right.
So most people do that, right? So you might have to get out there and do it yourself. So I have a lantern that I can use outside as well. And my flashlights, you can keep this in your glove box. It's very portable in your glove box. And don't let the size fool you because it is very bright. And say it wasn't on the highway. Say your car somehow went off a barrier and now you're in the water. And your car's starting to fill up on the sides, it's starting to fill up with water. And a lot of people say they can't roll their windows down because once electric goes, it's not going down because it's electric.
Right.
How do they get down? Well, I'll show you two ways. One way is on this is a pocket knife, and on the end of it, it has a window breaker. And your windows, the way they break now, they break into little octagons.
Right.
So they don't break into shards. So don't be afraid to break your window. Even though these little octagons, they can still cut you if you directly impact it, you know, with your head or something. But they won't. So you can shield, but you're going to shield yourself. But these breaks the window, and then a lot of people find out they can't get out your seatbelt. So this here cuts the seatbelt. It's a seatbelt cutter on here. And I like this knife because it also has a light on here, which is, I didn't put the little batteries in because I don't want them to run out, but it has batteries and this has a flashlight on it as well.
Wow.
And then on this side is a fire starter. So it has flint, you know, flint so you can start a fire if you needed to, you know. And this one I found at Walmart's.
Really?
Yes, this one I found at Walmart's. I have a couple of different styles that they have on Amazon. Like this one here is similar, and I found that one on Amazon. It has the cutter, it has the window breaker as well. And it's, you know, a regular knife that you need if you needed that. So these are some help. Now, if y'all saw that on the news, what happened in Georgia that time, and they were stuck in that snow on the highway, or if you've ever been in a storm, you had to travel on the highway, and the snow builds up, so you have to pull over. Sometimes you get those blizzard winds, and they start blowing sideways, and you can no longer drive. You have no choice but to pull over until it clears up some. You might get hungry. So you might need some food. So you should have some portable food in your car. These are like dried fruits, sunflower seeds, some granola bars, you know, the granola for energy. It has hot chocolate and oat milk if it came down to that. In this bag, which I'll pass around too, it has salmon, raisins, you know, dried foods like that. All right. Little packages of salmon that you can have. And if you needed to heat it up, this is a folding stove. This folds and it runs on the sternum that's here, the canned heat. It runs off of the canned heat just like a sternum, like you went to a party, the little canned heat. It runs off of that. And on top, you can put your, well, I happen to have a folding frying pan. So you don't have to have a folding frying pan. You're going to make the bag whatever you want to have in it. But I have a small one, like if in my go bag, you know, the mess kit they have here. This is a small one. It comes with a bowl and like just a little pan. So you don't have to have the big one.
Crazy swallow.
And say, for instance, it was a car accident. And somebody has trouble breathing now. And you have to do CPR. You should have some first aid items in your bag, which I do. I have first aid items. So for minor cuts, I have some things in there. Also, I have a CPR resuscitator right here in this package right here. So that's in this bag as well, if you need that. Also, I have some other things for medical uses, like for poisoning. If you happen to get poisoned with something, I have charcoal in here as well. And some different things. If you have allergies, I have Benadryl, different things that you need. If something gets in your eye, I have an eye wash for that. So if it's a car accident, sometimes that happens. Now, if your car breaks down and say you need water in your car, this is what I have the water bag for. If you had to get water from someplace close, you can take the water bag and to get water in, to put water in your car. That's the water bag. This right here is a waterproof bag. So if you have things that you don't want to get wet, like maybe your flashlights or your portable radio, if you need to listen to the news to see the weather conditions or something like that, then you can put them in the waterproof bag. Or some papers, like some papers, emergency papers with emergency phone numbers and things on them, you can put them in the waterproof bag. So that's those things. Okay, so that's enough about the carpet. Oh, I'll show you one more item, a couple more items in the carpet. Now this is a crank flashlight. So it has a crank right here, and you would crank it up. You crank it up for about a couple of minutes, and it has a crank. That means it doesn't run on batteries at all, so you don't have to worry about your batteries running out. And you would crank this for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. If you crank it for 2 or 3 minutes, you get maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes of light.
Wow.
And let me see if it turns on, because it might need it.
Oh, wow.
See, it's a flashlight, but it's also distress. If it was dark in here, you could see the distress signal. And this has little magnets, which you can stick on the top of your car or on the trunk of your car, wherever you need that, to stick little magnets on the bottom. And it has a little toolkit inside as well.
Where did you get that?
This one I got at Kohl's.
Okay.
But that was a while ago. They usually have them seasonally, like in winter, around this time of year. if you had to leave your car and if it was in a bad condition, maybe on fire, you know, you'd have to leave your car. This bag has wheels. You take your bag and you roll away from the car, and you might have to set up some shelter. This is like a portable tent made of the same material, the Mylar material, or you can use like a tarp. If you have a tarp in your car, you can use a tarp. And I have right here these things that goes right into the grommets.
Sticks.
So that goes right into the grommets right here. And I have a mallet in here for that. Okay. We'll come back to some of those things later for more emergency. Okay, so I'm gonna move on now to, any questions so far? Questions so far? Okay. This is, we'll move on to the house. So in your homes, you may have to have some items in your home that, say it was a bad snowstorm. Say we got 3 feet of snow. We might not want to go outside. We might not be able to go outside. What if we have 4 feet of snow? We've been seeing, this weather has been like we haven't seen before. So if we got that much snow and we're not able to leave our homes and we have to stay in our home, you want to make sure you have a sufficient amount of food and water for you and your family to be able to survive. 6 months will be a wonderful time, but if you have nothing, have at least 2 weeks worth of food and water, because that'll give enough time for them to dig you out and all that stuff to happen to melt. If it was like a tornado or a hurricane or something like that, your power might be out for a couple of weeks. Our power was out for 2 weeks when that happened, when we had the Hurricane Sandy came through. And that way, but we had food and water and things in the house. And this right here is a little stove top. Many people have them. A little stove top, and it runs off of the clean fuel right here. And this you can use inside your home. This is right here, it's a little wind barrier. Most of them don't come with them, but you can get it with them if you had to actually cook outside.
Love it.
It's a wind barrier.
Sister Doreen, how does that gas hook up to the stove? How's
Oh, right here? Okay, let me show you that. It has an opening right here. So
Oh,
the
okay.
can goes right inside here, so it inserts.
where did you obtain that?
This Walmart's. Walmart's have them, Target has these. They have them online as well. Depends. I bought mine offline because of the amount of energy I want. They have different levels, and since I wanted mine to be high, I bought it off the internet. But a basic one they have at Walmart's and Target's.
Now, when it's bought, do you have to buy that particular can brand for it?
Oh, no.
Or does it come with,
This right here? You can buy any of these fuels, right? So it's portable. They have this at Walmart. They have them online. You can buy them in bulk on Amazon.
Now, what type of fuel is that?
This is butane.
Butane. Okay.
Butane. Yes. You can buy them on in bulk. Amazon. Even the fruit store has them too. They have them. They have these and those at the fruit store. Yeah, and they said a lot of people have been buying them, so must be useful. So at home you can can your own items, because it's not really good to eat out of the cans that we have, but to make your own in the glass jars and preserve them, then you'll have foods that you may want to have at a time of need. So these are some fruits. So I have pears that I've done, pineapples, mangoes. These are mangoes. This is poached peach tea, which is tea that has some peaches in it, which is nice, you know. But then you have some real food like carrots, green beans, and the good old bean soup, right? And that navy bean will sustain you because it has all the proteins, some trace minerals, and also vitamins that you need in the bean soup. This is grapefruit, apples, you know, different things.
Sister Doreen, I
Yes,
was
sir.
wondering, how long is the shelf life
Oh.
for like a canned product?
Okay, for most of these, they will last. For the fruits, they said that we shouldn't have them no longer than a year for the fruits, but the navy beans, they last for years. Shelf life, at least 6 to 10 years. Shelf life, yes. So
Oh, the soup.
the soup, yeah, the soup and the regular navy beans, the regular navy beans as well.
Wow.
They last much longer.
Love it.
Yes.
So, what size variations do we get on
these jars?
Yes.
Okay, that's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up, because an adult, if we're conserving and we're not trying to eat 3 meals a day, we're trying to eat one meal a day to survive, right? you can cut your meal down and you have your meal, 1 meal a day, maybe 1 meal every other day, depending on how much food you have, right? So for an adult, we should have, not this size, it's a quart, it's actually 2 of these. So it'd be 2 of these or the quart size. They have a quart size that's a little bigger, you might have seen those. The quart size, 1 quart a day. And for the children, they get 2. They get 2 meals a day, so that's what you should be training your children to have, 2 meals a day. 1 in the morning or one in the evening or whatever 2 meals you want, lunch and dinner, whichever they prefer. But they get two of these a day, and adults get 1 large one a day, or 2 of these. Okay, and then the water, you should definitely have enough water. They say 1 gallon per person per day. And not that they're gonna drink 1 gallon of water, because if you eat 1 meal a day, you only need 8 ounces of water in a day to drink. But the water is also for cleaning or washing up your dishes, because you want to keep it very clean and sanitized, because you don't know what kind of pests or things might want to come into your home. Because if you're starved, if you're hungry, whatever's outside is hungry too. So it's something that you should consider. And also your neighbors may be very hungry because they may not have stored stuff in your home. So they say that these things are all cooked already. You don't even have to heat them up. You can eat them just like they are. Because if you go to heat these up, that smell's going to travel. Especially this good old bean soup. That smell travels very far. So just consider that when you're thinking about warming up your food. You know, because you can warm it up, you know, but it depends on what the time is, what the situation is. Because you also should have different things for your home. Like they said, we should have plywood in order to cover our windows and things like that. We should have lime if we had to dispose of our waste. If our plumbing was not working, the water lines were not working, they might freeze or they might be broken otherwise. You need to be able to have an alternate way to dispose of your waste and to be able to bury it outside as well. So the lime, it actually breaks down the waste, and then you're able to dispose of it outside. Here, what I have here is a homemade gas mask. Yes, sir, question.
Where do you get lime from?
Home Depot. Home Depot. And you want to get the fast acting one.
That's
Yes. Now here, this is a homemade gas mask. If it was a fire or if it was a man-made situation where you needed to have a gas mask, this is made with pulverized charcoal, which is, you want to get charcoal that's not treated with anything, just natural charcoal. You would pulverize it with like a hammer. This right here is just gauze. Gauze pad. I put it between a couple of layers of the cotton gauze pad, and I just taped it. I made this in like maybe 5 minutes. Because I taped it so that the charcoal is not falling out, and then I just taped it to a little mask. Yes?
Zachariah Jackson, BASA News. Well, you talked about using lime for the waste and everything, and I don't want to get graphic, but you know, we have an audience that need to really know on how to actually break down defecation with lime. Well, how would you do that?
Okay. What you can do is if your water is not working in your toilet and you don't want to go wasting the water that you have stored to drink, then what you can do is put a garbage bag inside your toilet bowl, and then when you go to the bathroom, then you can put the lime inside the plastic bag with the waste, and it will break down your waste. Now, once it's safe, if it's safe to go outside, what you would do is you would take it outside. If it's not, you know how they have the paint cans and they have a lid with the bucket, you can put it inside that if it's not safe to go outside. But when it is safe, what you wouldn't do is go and bury it outside.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there a proportion of lime that you put in terms of the waste? I mean, is there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand how much you would put. Just enough to break it down. Like you'll be able to tell once you put it in there. Because that's why you want to get the fast acting one.
Right.
So that once you put it in, you'll see it start breaking down.
Okay.
That's a good piece that you said about the plastic bag over the toilet. I didn't even think about that.
Yes, yes. That way you don't have to worry about. It's either that or you're going to go get a bucket, and you don't want to be wavering over a bucket. Okay. So the use your toilet is the best thing, I think. So yeah, like I said, so these masks are very easy to make, and you can use. I made this one at home, and you can use. They have a box of these for $1 at the dollar store. I got this at the dollar store, and it comes with 10 in a box or something like that. And the charcoal, it was on sale at probably Walmart when they had clearance from the summertime. I got it on clearance. So and of course that would make a whole bunch of these, but And you don't wanna wait till you
That's right.
need to use it, if it was a gas mask, you don't wanna wait till it's time to start
Try to make
trying to put it together, right? So, you wanna make a bunch of these and have them ready for yourself. Also, at home, you wanna have enough blankets and, you know, extra things, because what if your power goes out? In the wintertime, your power goes out, it means there's no heat. And you wanna be able to stay warm in your home. And I have here a heater, which you can buy online, or they have some in the stores as well. But this heater right here is a portable heater. I'm trying to see how many butanes this one has. This one is 18,000 max butanes. And it has different levels, so you can put it on medium, high, and low. And depending on what you put it on, it will tell you how long it's gonna last, for how many hours it will last, yes.
Have you actually tested it and used it?
This one I haven't used.
Okay.
This one I haven't used. But this one runs off of propane.
Okay.
And we know propane is very flammable.
Right.
So this is why I have the hose that goes with it, and I would run the hose to my back deck, on my deck, and put that big propane tank. You can run it outside, so you're not having propane inside your house.
That one can be converted to propane, that gas?
This is, yes,
Oh, okay.
this is for that.
All right.
This runs off of propane, and you need to use that. But if you were outside, you can use the little propane, it fits on the sides. You can put two of them on the sides, yes.
I have a question about the gas mask.
Yes.
What type of gas does it protect you from? Is this like the gas inside of a house, or is like actually fumes, like?
Right, actually, most types of fumes, not just gas inside your house, but it would do that. But if there was, I want to say,
Carbon?
what'd you say?
Carbon.
Carbon outside, or any other kind of gas that, somebody might put into the air, you know what I'm saying? Human-made situation, this would protect you. And these, they don't last forever either, so once they start running out, you switch out. Questions about the home? No? No questions? Okay.
I have a question
Yes.
about the energy you were saying. Propane, then earlier you said butane. Now what's the difference between those two?
There are two different types of fuel. The butane is a cleaner fuel, and it goes inside of the stovetop. The propane runs on this machine that I have on the floor here.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Also, what you want to have is, if you had to leave your home, you want to have emergency contacts, one in-state contact, one out-of-state contact. Because we know when 9/11 happened, everybody was trying to get out of New York. The tunnels were jammed. You weren't going anywhere. So you want to have an in-state contact that maybe you can go to, maybe a family member or a friend. You ask them, this is an emergency. I don't want to come to your house every day, but if it was an emergency, is it okay that me and my family may come here for a short time? And most people will say yes, And you want to have an out-of-state contact as well, because a lot of people were trying to call into New York to see if their family members were okay. And they were not able to get in because all of the frequencies were jammed, because everybody was trying to make phone calls.
No,
So you want to be able to have somebody in-state and out-state, yes.
The tower actually was down, so you could not make no call into
Right,
it.
exactly. So a lot of people, but some people did get word out that they were okay, after a while. So you want to have that. I have copies for you all. I can email everybody a copy of it. It says on here, in-state contact, out-of-state contact. It also has on here, what if something happens to you? God forbid you were knocked unconscious. They might want to need your blood type. They might want to know what you're allergic to before they start treating you. So you use your discretion about what you want to put on here, on these forms. Also, I can also email you a go pack list, what you can put in the bag for your go pack, for your car pack, and suggested items for at home as well.
Can you explain the go pack?
Yes. So the go bag is what we're going to talk about next. This is if you had a situation, you were at home, or maybe not at home, but you were at home and you had to leave. Your home is unsafe. Say if we had an earthquake. New Jersey happens to lie on a major fault line, and many people don't know that. So that if we had an earthquake here, just like that earthquake they had in Virginia, we felt it here, right? Because we're all on the same plate. It's not like California. California has many little tectonic plates, like little plates that it sits on. So if you have an earthquake, say in San Diego, you may not feel it in Los Angeles. But here, if we have earthquake anywhere on this coast right here, we're all gonna feel it. But New Jersey just happens to lie on a major fault line. So if we had an earthquake and maybe it burst our gas line. Now our house is unsafe, we have to leave. So you should have this go pack, and what a go pack is a 3-day supplies. You have a change of clothes in here, 3-day supply of water and food, and some emergency things that you would need in order to leave your home. So if it was an earthquake, or if it was a tornado, or if it was a hurricane, remember it was a lot of lines down outside, the power lines were down, some transformers blew, it was trees everywhere, it was very unsafe to be outside. It was very unsafe. But if something happens to the foundation of your home and you can no longer stay there, you want to be able to have this ready so that you can just leave your home in an emergency. And in this, you have different items that you, like emergency drinking water. Water bottles are kind of heavy. These are a little bit lighter. They are packets of water that you can get. A rescue blanket, that's how the blanket I showed you over there, the same thing, the Mylar blanket. It has a light stick here, just for helping for you see at night. It's a tent made of Mylar as well.
Excuse me, beloved.
Yes, question.
What is Mylar? What is that?
It's just the material it's made of.
Okay.
It's a very lightweight material that they've created, and they also actually use this at NASA as well. If there was an emergency and somebody actually got hurt and they got cut, what I have here is called wound seal. And this is, if you're not near a hospital and you can't get to the hospital at that time and you're bleeding a lot, this you can actually pour onto the wound and it will stop the bleeding. And this comes in a 4-pack. This one I got online. So if you had to leave your home, you want to have a way to communicate with your family. My suggestion is that each one of your family members have one of these. See, even if they're at work, like say you might be at home, your husband's at work, your children are at school, and God forbid something happens. Everybody's gonna panic because you're gonna try to get to your wife, your children, you know, your husband. If you have the communicators, and you're not, if your work is in close proximity, then you can be able to call them. On these, you can have a special band for yourself and your family, so everybody won't have your band. And then, but you want to be careful and just be discretion, use code names and things like that only you all know. Yes.
What is the range on those particular?
These 22 miles.
Okay.
But I must say this: 22. When they say 22 miles, it's very loose. When they say 22 miles, they're talking about 22 miles of a flat plane.
Right.
Now, if you start factoring buildings into that,
Right.
then it cuts down drastically
Okay.
to only a few miles. Just keep that in mind when looking for these things and purchasing these things. And also, if you're going to test these out, if you're going to get them like now and use them for everyday emergencies, there are certain bands which you have to be licensed to use. And it says that all on the packaging, and you can get a license, and you can use the license for the long range. But for short range, you can use, it'll tell you what band you can use as well. That way, if they're at work or at school and it's an emergency, everybody can turn on your radios and you can communicate with each other. This right here is a waterproof transistor radio. It is solar powered, so you can solar power, you can sit it in the sun and it will charge. It has a crank as well, so you don't have to have batteries for this. You don't have to worry about, are my batteries old, did they run out? And it is a radio. And it also has a weather band on here. So if it was, like you said, a hurricane or a tornado or something like that, or even a bad snowstorm, it has a weather band and can tell you the emergency information for your area. I suggest that you do also keep maps in your bag, because you want a map of your local area. Like I have one of Plainfield, and I also have one for New Jersey. So, because you might know the streets right around here, but once you start going to another place that might be safe, you may not know that area. So it's good to have maps for those areas as well. Always have emergency money on you. In your home, in your go bag, in your car pack, have emergency money. Because if electricity is down, the ATMs are down. Then you can't get your money out. So you're gonna say, I'm gonna run to the bank, and you're not running anywhere. So you have to have emergency money on you. What else did I explain here? Okay. Oh, this is a shovel, I just want to show, this is a folding shovel, and it expands, and it has like a little saw on this if you needed it on the edge as well. And that's if you need to dig to bury your waste if you're away from home. So if you had to go away from home and set up camp somewhere, that you can have the folding shovel for that. Right here I have, this is called a fire starter. I have a couple of different kinds. I have this fire starter, and I have these, which is a match on the tip, but then it has like a kindling on here, which means it's going to keep your fire going. So once you strike it, this part will keep your fire going until it becomes, you know, a nice size fire. And the fire starter, this fire starter is waterproof. You can find this online as well. It's called Wet Fire. And once you light it, you can light it if it's wet. So even if it's wet, it's still gonna light. Okay. And of course, if the phone towers are not down, this is a portable energy, so you can charge your phone. But as I wanted to mention too, that this portable radio, it also has that. So if you crank it, it can charge your phone as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now, in this bag, it only has 3-day supply. What if you have to be out of your home for more than 3 days? You had to set up camp, say Watchung Reservation is close to here. Maybe they have fresh well there, so they have a pump. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen that old-fashioned pump. They have a pump up there. It has fresh water if you need to, and you can go up there and set up camp. And same kind of thing with your tent and whatnot. But if after 3 days you ran out of food, you out of water, now what's going to happen? You might have to go out there and get some water from the nearest lake if you was near the fresh water. And this here is a straw that has a filter on it. So if you just put some in your empty bottle or empty, you know, something that was empty, this filters water. This filters whatever water. You definitely never want to drink any running water that looks, even if it looks good. You're like, oh, this river right here looks very clear, because they have microorganisms, which are small little animals that live in the water that can make you very sick. And you don't want to have dysentery, and you don't want to have diarrhea and cramping. You'll have some situations going on. Okay, yes. All right. And also, if you're in the woods or whatnot, do not use leaves to wipe yourself when you go to the bathroom. Because if you don't know what poison oak, poison ivy, and poison sumac look like, you're going to have a very big problem, very big problem. So it's good to have toilet paper with you as well. Okay? This is also an energy pack. It's called an energy bank, and you can also charge your phone with that as well. First aid items are in here. Some of them are the same thing that you see here. Questions about that? Yes.
Is that charger solar powered?
Which, the little charger?
No,
This one?
No, the pack that the one you
Oh,
just
this one? No, this one is not solar powered, but you can get them solar powered. They do have the solar banks.
Right.
Yes.
Should everybody in the household have their own go bag?
Oh, yes. Yes, because this is a 3-day go bag. This is just for me. This is just mine. But everybody has one. Like my children have one. My husband has one. We all have a go bag. And they all have supplies in them. But on the paper here that I have, it says, customize this to suit you. Because the little ones, they can't carry a big pack like you. And what if you walk and Watchung Reservation, that's several miles from here. That's not around the corner, you know what I mean? Well, we have parks that are closer though, like Greenbrook Park, Seabrook Park, maybe more open space that's closer. But if you had to walk with your pack far away, if it was a dangerous situation here, then you don't want to make their bags heavy. You want to make them light enough with a change of clothes, maybe a couple, food, and you definitely want to have something in the bag like for children, maybe some crossword puzzles or something like that, some coloring pages if they're that young, something to keep them occupied. Even I say even for the teenagers, because they're so into them cell phones, when the battery died, they're not going to know what to do with themselves. So have something in the bag for them to keep them occupied, as well. Questions? No? Oh, okay. Okay. So, but in a situation, the main thing is to do what first?
Evacuate.
Remain calm. Remain calm and plan and then move, right? Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
So most of these things that you have a go bag list and a vehicle survival kit.
Yes.
So most of the things that we purchase and our meetings around the and or online, right?
Yes, because a lot of these things they have Army Navy stores that have a lot of these supplies. Walmart, I got most of these supplies from Walmart. Like this shovel I got from Walmart, the nest kit, Walmart, the knife, the blue one I got from Walmart. A lot of these things you can get from the dollar store. So you don't, this may look overwhelming, but this was built over time. So you just want to start with a go bag, just a 3-day supply, and then build from there. And then at home, you start with just 2 weeks worth of food and water. And if you're not able to can, just do what you can do. You get whatever you can get, So you start out here. And also here, these are pure water purification tablets as well that you can get, and they have these in Walmart too. And if you need to purify your water, you can use these as well. If you didn't have this
Question here to get us to kind of think.
The other thing is you want to have your bags waterproof. These bags here, and sometimes it's very expensive to waterproof your bags, so you can use either fabric protector, what they call it, Scotch Guard, or you can use sneaker protector. But you have to spray this outside because it's very, the fume is very strong. But you spray it outside, you spray your stuff, let it dry, you spray it again with a couple of layers, let it dry, and then your bags are waterproof. Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. I do have some items in the back if you would like to purchase a couple of items for yourself. If you would like to order something, so let me know what you need, and I can probably get most of what you may need. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Doreen. All praise to God. Family, I was just thinking to myself, we have, it's disheartening that in an hour in which we live, with all the truth the minister is putting before us, and we have right among us the skill, the talent, the resources, the knowledge, and the biggest problem that the minister said the servant of God has when he comes into the knowledge of his mission is to find adequate help. And adequate help is really those of us who make ourselves or avail ourselves to information when it's available to us. And, the hour, just the cold itself, is enough to let every one of us in this room know we've been Muslims for 30 years and have been very remiss. And that's the beauty of Islam. Some have strong points, and your strong point is another person's weak point. So we have to always make a weak Muslim strong in whatever way we possibly can. So I was really hopeful, and the consensus has said more would be here. But I thank Allah for you, Sister Doreen, and for your family, and for everyone who took time to be with us tonight. Because this information really is, beyond words, really. Brother came, he was here earlier, he bought a donation for the Savior's Day gift. And I told him what was going on tonight. He chastised me for not telling him sooner. But he left here at 6 o'clock, went all the way to Newark, changed his clothes, bought his camera because he has a YouTube news channel called BASA News. So he asked me earlier, could he tape? And I told him yes in advance of checking with you. But this information, our people need it. And some just don't know what goes on in Muhammad Mosque besides preaching. And it gives them a look inside to see the kind of valuable information that is here. So again, we thank Allah for you, and hope every one of us will take this information with us and begin to do what is necessary. And for those of us who do not, then perhaps the time will catch us. And perhaps the time won't catch those of us who have the opportunity to do it. So we're not going to prolong the night. We're very thankful, Sister Doreen. Let's give Sister another warm round of applause. Any more questions? Now, how soon will that air?
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
So it's BASA, B-A-S-A.
News.
News.
Right. Space News, and then you would put
Right on the YouTube.
Right on the YouTube. Yes.
BASA News. Okay, and you have them in the chronological order of the way you take.
Yeah. Well, what happens is once they get on the
So, so he's always been a friend. When the minister did the You were here this Sunday, the minister did a couple summers ago. What lecture was that?
The lecture, we were here for the lecture of when Hillary Clinton
Hillary
and
Clinton, when Satan.
Satan, right, Satan, right,
Yeah,
that
he was
one.
here, he taped them, he did some interviews on the outside. All of that is on his news channel. So we thank Allah for you, brother, and you're always welcome here.
Thank you.
And that's it. Let's get ready to go home and enjoy our families, get some rest. Got a long day ahead of us tomorrow. Remember, we have the fundraiser for the tangerines and the oranges and the grapefruit. Let's push, 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 take them to our jobs, ask people to support Muhammad Mosque because Allah knows we need the money. And those who are controlling the purse strings know. Hard to pull a string when there ain't no money in the bank, right? So also, Sister suggested that we take that fundraiser and help it to help Muhammad University. So if the mosque is gonna make $8 for each crate of oranges that we sell, if the students of MUI sell a